All right, good evening, everyone. I will open the June 18th regular meeting of the old Saybrook Annual Wetlands and Water Courses Commission. It is now 7 o'clock p.m. We have present myself, Colin Heffernan, we have Anna Corey, we have Jake Ulowick, we have Peter DeLisa, we don't have Mark Calderella, we don't have Dennis Toom. We have Dennis O'Mary. We have Greg Gernhardt here. We have Linda Kiefer. We don't have Jeffrey Jordan, and we do have Julie Berkman. Okay.
Want to see anybody or
Mark, do we need to?
you don't have to?
No, I don't think so. I don't need to, so I'm moving forward. Okay, old business. Application 26-003, Town of Old Saybrook, application to conduct a regulated activity at 499 Middlesex Turnpike, Connecticut Route 154, map 57, lot 31, building additions and renovations and associated parking, sidewalk, and utility improvements at a town garage within 100-foot of the upward review area. Owner Town of Old Saybrook, agent of the lot. We are to consider and act no later than 7/24/2026. And Mr. Rob.
Yes, good evening again. Just for the record, I'm Mike Ott. I'm a licensed professional engineer and land surveyor with Summer Hill Civil Engineers and Land Surveyors in Madison. Mark Davis, the architect from Point One Architects that was at the site walk, I told him it was probably okay for him to go home to his family, if that's okay. Hopefully. I do have his drawings though, his boards that he had at the site walk. Do you all have a set of drawings, or should I put these on a board on the easel, or do you have a?
I'll look at them online, but
I've seen them at the planning commission.
You can look at those too for that. So I had, you have them, Jim, in the computer right here. I had explained the project, I think, at this meeting where you've accepted it, so it's, additions and additions, you should say. And that is additions to, the town that's all the works garage. And I don't know if he showed you this, but this is a rendering. If they did, I don't know if we showed you this in the field. This is a rendering, kind of what it will look like. We are, as you saw, with the exception of where the dog kennel is, or the run, I should say, the fenced in area outside where there's no building, there will be building there today. With the exception of that little rectangular area, the new addition is, additions are either where there's building today, or they're on top of the existing pavement. If you remember the last place that we stood when we looked at the garage bay doors. So, but in total, we are adding 1,710 square feet of additional impervious area. And that is, part of that is that kennel, the outside fenced in area. Part of it is that if you remember the pavement at the entry, a place for employees to sit outside right at the building entry. And part of it is the 6 additional parking spaces that we're at. I can go to that page. So the 6 additional parking spaces, the only portion of the new impervious area that drains to the wetland is the area where the outdoor kennel run is that's filled into the building. Today, that kennel, if you remember, I remember saying this, it's a shed roof. It drains towards the wetlands today, but it drains down to the outdoor area before it goes to the wetlands. When they fill it in with the new building, it'll be closer to the wetland. When it comes off the roof, it'll be closer. The rest of the addition, the rest of the stormwater runoff, with the exception of the patio area, entry, which drains to the lawn, drains onto pavement, and we don't change the drainage patterns. There's a very distinct drainage pattern. There's an area outside the limit of our project where all the stormwater runoff goes. the consulting town engineer is working on now, making some improvements to that area. There was some talk of including those in this project, but it was decided not to. So at some point, you're gonna see something from the consultant town engineer that makes some improvements to stormwater runoff on the site. So, but this project, so like I said, this project adds 1,710 square feet for additional impervious area. I think it's pretty straightforward. It's only really because we're mostly putting a building where there's pavement today. And so there's no, as we talked about in the field, there's no tree removal. There probably, as we talked about, there'll probably be some pruning of branches that will be a little too close to the back of the building for construction for the guys working. Can imagine you probably are gonna have to build a wall, lift up there at the back of the building, that kind of thing. There's no proposed filling of wetlands. And again, the only additional direction of stormwater runoff to the wetlands is that filtered kennel area. No changes to the septic system. All the building utility changes happen within the pavement between the buildings, between the really high garage bay building, if you remember, and the new addition. And I think that's it. That's it in a nutshell. The fueling station stays where it is. I'm just looking at the plan to make sure I don't understand anything. But I think that's pretty much it. I would be glad to answer any questions if you have any.
Your site tour was very informative.
The color, that color plan, if you have it, the ortho photograph, that's to scale. And that color plan should be that kind of yellowish tan area, shows you the new building. You can see how it falls on the existing pavement out front and how it falls in that kennel run area that I've worked on there also. And you can also see the pavement, the new pavement patio area out of the entry. That's on built on partially on pavement that's there and partially out built. That actually is the significant portion of the additional impervious surface.
Do you know the distinction of the amount of impervious that is part of the kennel versus that concrete pad that's gonna be sheet flow? On the roof?
I don't off the top of my head. I have those figures, but
Yeah.
I came from
Looks like less than-
another site before I met
Yeah,
you
less
guys.
than half, because you've got parking
Yeah.
spaces too, right?
Yeah.
And is that,
So the parking spaces do not drain to the wetland.
right,
It's kind of interesting what they do. Some of the new parking spaces drain to the pavement into the site and they go to that stormwater area that I talked about. The town engineer is gonna do something about. Part of it drains down the driveway. And when it gets right at the edge of Middlesex Turnpike, because it doesn't even go to Middlesex Turnpike, it goes right and left into the lawn area. Within the highway, there's a depression there. And the surface water runoff doesn't even make it to the Middlesex Turnpike. So it sits in the shoulder kind of.
and one other question, so the new roof area, is that all gonna go to the roof train? I saw one roof train out in the back, is it gonna be directed to that?
Same,
Straight down to the ground?
they'll move it, a new one, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's the intent, yep. Yeah, there's no, like I said, no changes to the septic system. There are underground tanks. There's an all-grade separator and a holding tank for the wash bays. That stays the same. We didn't walk around that end of the building, but that's on the west end of the building. That stays the same. There's not a lot of site or utility changes associated with the project. It's mostly the new building in addition.
I imagine that, well, I guess this is a question for it, but during the construction, how will the chemicals and oil and various operational chemicals kept on site be treated? Will they move to another location? Will they remain on site and work around? What's the plan to make sure we don't have any spills of that stuff while construction's going on?
So, that's a good question. Anything that's in the current garage is gonna be worked on, will have to be moved into the other buildings. So the public works garage site, like all municipalities has stormwater pollution, prevention plan, a SWIP, they call it.
Have they got one?
You're familiar,
Is it
Yeah,
current?
I would, I don't know, I don't know.
I think we ought to be able to.
Consulting town engineer has done it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so public works garages are considered, I have a feeling Jay knows what I'm talking about, but. Public works garages are considered, industrial facilities. And there's Connecticut DEP has a general permit for industrial, for stormwater, for industrial facilities. Part of that is you have to have a SWIP, a stormwater pollution prevention plan, and part of that plan is how you store and handle, hazardous materials or materials that could contaminate wetlands. And the basic idea is keep as much of that as possible inside and out or under roof and out of, contact with stormwater. So yeah, they're gonna have to move a lot of stuff. They're gonna have to move, equipment and I would imagine and tools and all kinds of stuff, temporary, or work.
Like on drawing C 202.
Yep.
On the west end of the building, you have a note that talks about a floor drain system to a separator structure. Is that existing right now?
Existing, yeah, if you look on the existing conditions plan, you'll see that we located the manholes.
See, that's the only. That note only appears on
It does. but
two oh
you-
two.
Yeah, but if you look at the existing conditions plan, which is 2101, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 manholes on the top of frame elevations. Those are that's what I was mentioning earlier. There's a floor drain system inside the building and under that permit, that same permit I was talking about, the DEP permit, that the water from that floor drain system goes to an oil-grid separator below the ground, which is there today. And then it goes to a holding tank and a licensed waste hauler comes periodically and
Yeah, okay.
removes that wastewater and just, disposes of it properly at a treatment plant.
Mhm.
Yeah, so no change to that, other than that note is about connecting the new floor drain with a new pipe to
Okay.
the existing facilities. It's about a 10 to 12 foot length of pipe. And that, Jay, you were in the field, you were mentioning the 100-foot upland review area.
Yeah.
That's shown on that same sheet in the blue
Yeah,
line.
I see that.
It goes right through the pavement.
And you said before that the burden on the septic system really hasn't changed based on the number of bathrooms and showers that are inside.
Yes.
So it hasn't had to go through any kind of review with the regional health district.
Not at all, yeah,
Okay.
so CRAD, signed off on this, they had to. More so for the zoning commission,
Mhm.
but yeah, there's no additional employees, no additional water use. Just new, newer and a little bit bigger building, basically.
One other question on sheet C 303.
Yep.
In the middle of the drawing it's called SC sedimentation control and drainage structures.
Yep.
Does that even have to be there? Cause it looks like it's a retrofit if you had a cat face.
It is, it's a silt set. Basically, that goes in catch basin. We
I don't have any
technically,
cat faces.
yeah, technically, we don't need it. Initially, we thought we were gonna be doing something,
Okay,
so I just left it in the drawings, I'll be hurting, but.
okay, understood.
Like I said, there was some discussion earlier that we were gonna take on the stormwater improvements here, but that, after discussing it with, the architect and the first selectman and Bill Clapp, the public district, we decided to not do that.
Well, that'll get it reviewed again, it's only anyway.
Yeah, you guys will see eventually, because what they're gonna do is definitely within 100-foot public review area. You guys will see it eventually, for sure. I'm told they're working on it now.
Okay.
are running in, I think I might have mentioned this, we're running a new fire protection service in from the state road and the state highway. That's it.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you for the presentation. All right, and for the site walk and for coming last time and again. So with that in mind, if no other further questions, I will make a motion that we approve the application as submitted, subject to our usual terms and conditions.
I'll second that, I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Approve the application is complete.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think we're acting on it tonight. We accepted it last month, right? So we're acting on it tonight. So I approve the application as submitted, subject to our usual terms and conditions. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none?
Thank
There you
thank
go.
you very much.
Best of luck.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You too. Thanks.
All right, moving on to new business, violation issue 5/2026 for regulated activities, including grading and fill in the 100-foot upland review area without a permit at 4 Fordham Trail at 58 lot 39-20. Owner Jacqueline Westbrook, actions to discuss violation and remediation. Matt, why don't you tell us what's going on?
Okay, so on May 19th, I was notified that there was a potential violation at 440 Trail, went out to check it out. And I could see that this is a property that, I had issued two, administrative permits for two decks adjacent to the, attached to the back of the house. Wetlands are in the backyard. It looked like and you can see your pictures, the backyard was, the vegetation was removed, whatever vegetation had been there. There were some piles of soil and, it looked like it was pushed back all the way to the wetland boundary. So I spoke with the owner, Mr. Westbrook. He didn't realize that that was a regulated activity. So I asked him to come in and, discuss what to do next. He was prepared to submit an application. He was intending to submit an application, but told me a couple of weeks ago, that he was having trouble getting a soil scientist in time to get that application submitted. So I suggested he just come in and discuss the violation, and the commission could give him some direction as to where to go to correct it.
Very good. Mr. Westbrook, do you have anything to say in response to that, or does that accurately sum up where we stand?
Pretty much, yeah, that's accurate. Again, as far as with the amount of work that I did, at my house, I pulled permits for everything that I needed to. I have, 4 years ago, I bought 1 Fordham Trail. That house was there for 10 years. Fire damage after 10 years, so I purchased it, but I bought it and we were gonna, move in. For us, it was during COVID time. But I sold it and ended up buying the neighbor's house. So as far as records go, you can see for both properties, 1 Fordham Trail was extensive, mine as well. You can see that I pulled permits for everything that I did. As far as the only thing that I could tell you guys as far as the backyard is lack of knowledge. I didn't know. If I needed to do something like that, I'm a contractor in town now. I live here now, so I do business here now. So I don't want to cause no troubles for myself, my wife. And then more so for, my business, because I have to see you guys all the time, So I don't want to put a bad name for myself. I just want to be able to correct it. With, advice from you guys as far as what you would like me to do or what I should do. The backyard was sort of a dumping ground for the whole development. Sinkholes, and it just wasn't, I had my grandkids in the back playing and they, spraining an ankle, falling in the hole. I had a tree come down, one big tree fell down and then the other half of it fell down the following day. So I just, I yanked it out, instead of stump grinding, I just yanked it out, and then I put fill in, so I brought fill all the way to where my existing grass, stopped. So if I needed to pull a permit for that, I have no problem doing that.
How much did you raise the property?
So it's like maybe a foot down here, down below, just to grade it out, I guess. Because I had a lot of sinkholes, pretty extensive sinkholes. So it just more so wanted to make it look right in the backyard, and then also safe for my kids, my grandkids, and I put, a lot of money, a lot of effort into our house. We were in an apartment for a very long time, so I'm very proud of what I've done, and what I've done, it shows, so I just want to make the backyard look nice property.
So you're not alone in that. Most of the violations that we come in there are stories very similar to yours, where someone didn't know there were wetlands on their property, didn't know they needed a permit, and that's fine. We're not the boogeyman out here looking to slam, homeowners for trying to do some landscaping in their yard. But it is our job to make sure that the wetlands are sort of protected and kept safe. It sounds like you're taking the right steps by, looking to hire a soil scientist that can go in and see exactly where the wetlands are and what the best way to do is to remediate, maybe clear those piles out in a way that's safe, to make sure they're not running off into the wetlands and things like that.
Yeah, so the only thing that I propose, I'm sorry for.
No, it's okay.
What I propose is just to pull it back.
Sure.
Just to pull it back and plant my grass.
And that sounds like a good idea to me. So I think that you probably just need some more time to get your application in, because you can't find a scientist or.
Okay, call me back.
Yeah.
Nobody will call me back.
I got you, I understand. So why don't we, we'll continue, we don't have any cease and desist order in place now, do we?
No, it's just a
Okay.
notice of violation.
Okay, so what we'll do is I'll make a motion that we continue the violation until our next regularly scheduled meeting. Hopefully in that time, you can come get an application in. If you have any problem getting an application in, or you can get somebody call it back still, just come back in and give us an update, okay?
That's right.
All right, so I move that we continue the notice of violation to our next regularly scheduled meeting.
So in the meantime, I apologize if I understand this correctly,
Yep.
so I'm going to submit an application
Correct.
of my intentions.
Yes, what you plan to do moving forward, and what you plan to do to sort of make sure that what you've done can, if we need to, if there are still piles of debris and things like that towards the edge, probably need to move those in a way that they're no longer running off into the wetland, or if they are, but your soil scientist should be able to help you out with all that, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
That is a good question.
sure.
They have a kind of a sketch plan. This was what, they submitted for their previous administrative permits for the deck. The wetlands are delineated on here. There aren't a lot of details about who did it, but they are there. And if he could measure from the back of the house where they are, would you have a suggestion for how much of a buffer you would want to have? So maybe he could get started on an application quicker,
Well,
or would you rather have a soil scientist or wetland scientist's input on that? I mean, if you could, if you had an idea like 20 feet or whatever the number is. I'm not sure how far the lawn went back.
Yeah, so then I put the dirt where the lawn was. So I did not go into the back any more than that. So again, like all I wanted to do was just pull that dirt back. And just, you said you plant grass
I think there was a
there.
good amount of vegetation clearing that occurred as well. It's one of my concerns.
So, well, I was wondering if you had a distance from the approximate wetland boundary in mind that could be re-landscaped with, native vegetation, if that would be sufficient, or if you would rather have him do this with a soil scientist or some sort of
I think we'd want a soil scientist to come out and take a look at it, just so that we can make sure that the delineations, if we're a bit unclear on the provenance of them, so that we can get that straightened out. I think that'd be most comfortable with that, and that'll help you make a plan that makes the most sense. Okay?
Just to clarify, earlier you said it was already grass and it had a bunch of sinkholes and it wasn't very level and you just kind of built it out, but was there existing vegetation?
There's,
Yeah, so here in the picture,
it's
that
the
picture right there.
previous-
so yeah,
there's
so
all this
that,
vegetation
Okay,
along-
those were all prickers.
oh, I got you.
And I got rid of.
So in your application, you might want to indicate what landscaping is gonna go in there. If you're planning on putting, any shrubs or bushes or something other than grass, include all that on the application.
Yeah, my original plan was to, the whole length from up to here. I was going to put, 55, green giants back there. So I don't know if that's a problem.
Well,
It was just gonna be along the whole length, because I have neighbors that just dump stuff that you don't see during now time, but when it, during the fall, I see everybody's garbage back there.
mhm.
And I even offered to remove it myself, just so I don't have to see that.
Sure.
Do you think input from a soil scientist for the replanting?
I think so too. The soil scientist should help you a lot.
They're good at, what they do.
Yeah.
Help with, an appropriate native vegetative planting to provide that buffer.
Yeah.
And something that could also give you some screening, which sounds like what you're looking for, some, the green giants give you some good screening generally, right? So the soil scientist should be able to give you some feedback on that, the planting plan. With that.
I think so too. Okay, so can I get a second on the motion?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thanks, sir. Good luck with the search and find somebody to help you, and we'll see you again next month.
Are you gonna send me something? No, or just,
Well, why don't we touch base, tomorrow's a holiday, why don't we touch base next week and figure out what
I'll
you're.
come Monday and pull the permit. Can I pull the permit on Monday? Or I need to get the,
You have to get soil scientist
okay,
first.
I'll work on that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different process. It's a little bit of a different process, but I'm gonna walk you through it, okay?
I understand, thank you.
Very good, thanks, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
All right, do we have, let me get back on the agenda here. All right, so we're on to minutes. Has anyone had a chance to go over the minutes from last month? Any changes? Any eagle-eyed scout spot, any misspellings or changes or things like that? No, okay, then I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank
I
you.
wasn't.
Okay, very good, very good. Two abstentions. Okay. All right, very good. We approve the minutes, motion carries, we approve the minutes as presented. All right, staff reports, committee reports, anything coming down from any of our committee members? Anything you should know about?
I had a couple,
Sure, go ahead.
minor things from,
Wilson?
planning commission. The selectmen requested a representative from planning for an ad hoc RFP committee for landscape architect for the new Saybrook Point Park. So I imagine we might see that at some point. And then secondarily, the commission is reviewing potential changes to the subdivision regulations. And as I'm sure you're aware, there are open space requirements for subdivisions. And one of the things with the way it's currently worded is applicants will often try and overlap protected space with their open space requirement. And the commission is discussing separating those two things where protected space remains protected space, but open space in addition needs to be set aside. So those are the two things.
Very good. Anybody else? Hearing nothing, I'll move over to Lynette. What's going on staff wise?
So recently you approved the 919 King Street application. And that applicant was supposed to get permission from the neighboring property owner to do the restoration, and they did get that. They're supposed to get it within 60 days, so that's taken care of, so they're moving along in their restoration program. And, the only other thing that we have that I talked to, Anna and, Linda about was they took the, deep wetlands training course, the certification course. And, I asked them if they wouldn't mind talking about it a little bit to let the commission know, if it was valuable and how it will be used, and, that also helps us earn some sustainable Connecticut credit. And if we can get one more person to do the training, in the next, say 6 months, then, we'll earn extra credit for that too, so keep it in mind, please, if anybody wants to.
And that was virtual, right? That training?
It is virtual, yep, and it's self-paced, so,
I'll volunteer for it.
oh, great, thank you.
Even before you gave us your.
Fantastic still pitch, didn't
All right.
It's definitely worth it in my mind. The one thing I will say is they advertise it as about 8 to 9 hours. Double it, it's more like 16. Well, I took hand notes for the whole thing.
Yeah,
So if you're just able to sit and listen and consume, probably will take you about 8 hours, but if you want to take notes. And there are small quizzes that'll come up. If you don't pass them, you can still continue in the course, but it will let you know where you've gotten questions wrong. I really liked it because it is more in depth. Because we can read through our rulings, what we can and cannot use to see what's significant, what isn't. It gives more in-depth reasoning as to why these rules came about, what actually makes a wetland, delineation, and different things like that. I really enjoyed it. I'm actually now using that course to base a workshop on this summer. I got a grant from the New Haven Garden Club. So I'll be running a wetlands training course based off the material that I learned through the deep wetlands training course. So I'm super excited to do that, and it's definitely been a cool thing to have in my back pocket, so
very good.
highly recommend.
Okay, now I'll volunteer.
Yeah.
Now I'm on the bench for it, so.
And I would also recommend it. I thought it was nice because it gives us guidelines as committee members as to what we're supposed to be doing on this committee to enforce the Inland Wetlands and Waterways Act. And they give descriptions of inland wetlands, and I didn't really know other than a place with water. Basically, it's based on the soil type, which I thought was interesting. So, and then they discuss ways that this Inland Wetlands Act sort of balances the needs of the community's economy versus protecting wetlands. And, they make the point that protecting the wetlands is actually also good for the economic side. There are definitely benefits to protecting wetlands economically too. And it comes in 8 modules, like, Anna mentioned, and for me, it basically took me about an hour for each one, but I wasn't taking a lot of notes. I was just kind of reading it, and I was a little bit, I found the first few modules took a little bit longer because they were there was a lot of laws and basically legal concepts, which I wasn't familiar with. And so I was trying to remember all the details, but then I realized when I got to the quizzes, they basically stick to, just sort of basic concepts and general ideas. You don't really need to know all the details. They do have, like Anna mentioned, some review sessions, which were kind of fun and actually helpful to answering the questions on the quiz. So overall, I thought the whole thing was pretty interesting, and I would recommend it.
Worth the time.
Yeah, I felt like it. Yeah, I felt like it was, yeah. So,
It being asynchronous self-paced is also really helpful because you can pick it up, put it down however you want, so.
yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention, I started out trying to do it in Chrome, Google Chrome. And I was having problems because the last line or two of many of the slides was cut off. And the technical people there at UConn didn't seem to have an answer. So I just tried switching over to the Firefox browser, and that solved my problem. Yeah, so if it doesn't work for you in whatever browser you start in, try
Another round.
yeah.
Good.
All right. Anything else, Annette?
Nope, that's it for me.
All right, well, then I shall Move to adjourn. Favor? Aye. Good job, everybody.